The next question is there anything else you would like to include about your family, your job, or anything else like that?
I would say family is very important. Um, my family is one of the core parts of what drives me and what makes me go. You know, I'm an individual who is very lazy, but strong at heart when it comes to loving others, when it comes to playing music. I was first starting to play piano. My grandmother was going to teach me how to play. I took lessons for at least 5 years, and I stopped playing, and because I was playing sports at the time. Like 2 years down the road, I picked up a guitar, and my guitar teacher was Joey Everett. He was my youth minister at Ridgecrest Baptist Church when I was going there at the time, and he taught me how to play. And over the years, I've gotten a lot better from what I ever really thought about being. But if anybody really taught me how to sing, it would be my mother. My mother has a beautiful voice. She'll fight you to the end of the day, tell you, she's average. But, her being my mother, it sounds like an angel singing. It's true. I love her with all my heart, even though we have disagreements and stuff, but she is a wonderful woman. She's always been there for me. She was one of the core people that helped me, sing and get better and tell me that I'm good and tell me that I did a good job, and my father is a great man. I wish every day that I could be like him, more like him, tough like him, and but I also want to, I want my family to know that they did a great job raising me, even though I've done, stuff I shouldn't have in the past, and we all fall, but that's what makes my parents, the best parents that I could ever have, is because they've always accepted me for who I was. They've always guided me in the right path. They've always raised me in a Christian home. And, that's the problem with today's world. There's a lot of places where, that you can't have that, that there's either missing a father figure or a mother figure, and then it's all unbalanced. And, but I've had both, I was blessed to have both. And my father, he always told me, it doesn't matter how big and successful and, that you'll be, it's all about loving what you're going to do. He was always there for me at all my events. It didn't matter. I played football in high school, never played a game in my life, I never played a game in my life. I played junior varsity, that was about it. But even in high school ball on Friday nights, he was there at some of the games, most of the games. Now, every junior varsity game, he was there. He paid $5 to see everybody else play. But it meant the world to me to see him there. It meant the world, and he knows that. He knows that him showing up meant everything to me, even though I wasn't in action, And even when I did get in action, I tried my hardest. He came to all my basketball games, all my soccer games. Those sports I was a little bit better at. But, he came to, and he was always cheering me on. And so props to my parents. They were there for me when I needed them most, in every situation, in every form or fashion in life, they were there for me. When it comes down to my brothers, I have two brothers, Barrett Cargile and Braden Cargile. Barrett Cargile is, he's my younger brother, but he's the oldest above Braden. So he's my first brother. Barrett is 18. He attends college at Pasco Hernando Community College in Florida. He is one of the best brothers you could ask for. As much as, as irritable as I get, with my brothers, I love them with all my heart, even though they don't think it. But they always encourage me. I always tell me I do a good job, and I try to do the same for them, and just try to be a good role model and stuff like that. And if I've ever failed in that, I sincerely apologize. But I really want to be a role model for my brothers, as I have him. And if my brother has done anything for me, Barrick, talking about Barrick, Barrick's really taught me to persevere, because he early senior year for him, he went to MRA and he tore his ACL, and we were having belief issues and in the Christian family and stuff like that, and he's having trouble, he was going back and forth, but when he tore his ACL, he came closer to God, and it really, really touched my heart to see that, because after he tore his ACL, that's an injury that you are out for 8 weeks, and the season, that's 2 months, 2 months you get, and the season's almost over after that, and he just came closer to God, and, but also, besides, coming closer to God, what was so awesome was he persevered, and he went to physical training, personal training, and the sports medicine doctor, and he built muscle over that and came back in maybe a month and played, when you're supposed to be out for 3 or 4. And it was literally something amazing to see, and he's stronger than ever right now. And he only played 2 full games in high school. They won state championships. He's got a state championship ring, and he got a full ride to Pasco Hernando, a scholarship, and it was just awesome to see him succeed, and I miss him every day he's gone. And Braden, he is, don't let anybody tell you that smaller kids can't, show anything. He's going to be probably bigger and badder than me and Barrick combined, because we always pick on him and fight with him, so he'll probably be, he's going to be great, but he's acting and singing, but he's starting at an early age, and I've yet to teach him how to play, guitar or bass yet. It's because he's too young, I still think, but he honestly is touched my heart. It's hard, as hard as he works, and as good as he tries to behave, stuff like do the right thing, and that's what I respect him for. He does the right thing, he always does the right thing, even though if it may upset me, he does the right thing, and that's what really, makes me happy. I can't forget my grandmother either.
Your grandmother?
Yeah, my grandfather and my grandfather. My grandfather was, I wouldn't be as far in life without him. I wouldn't be as far in life without him, because he's always took care of my truck. I don't have money. I don't come from money, but he's taken care of me and my truck, and he's taken care of everything, for me. But he loves me with all his heart, and he's battling cancer right now. But he's going to be all right. But he's just a strong man, a strong individual who's loved me with all his heart ever since the day I was born, and loved all 3 of us, my grandmother is, she makes me laugh. She is just one of the best piano players in Mississippi. I have no doubt about it. I don't care what anybody says and how old she is. She's one of the best and will always be one of the best. In my heart, she's come out with 2 albums, but she did it for the Lord, and that was amazing, because she's so good that album could be in Walmart, Best Buy, or iTunes, selling a lot of money.
What's her name?
Ethlyn Zimmerman, and my granddad's name is Roger Zimmerman, and but she is in her 70s, late 70s, and she's still teaching piano every day, and still works at a school teaching, playing for J.A.'s show choir, and I just have the utmost respect for my family, you know, and that's where a lot of my musical background comes from. My dad played saxophone at the University of Alabama in the $1 Million Band. My mother took piano from my grandmother, from her mom. Then I picked up. I play guitar, bass, piano, and I sing. So that's where I get all my talent from. It's in the genes and genetics and stuff like that.
Did you ever, or have you ever had a feeling that your talent is a gift from God, and that He wants you to use it for, use it for His glory, use it to reach out to different people? Have you ever had that feeling?
Yes, it's come to me in different waves. And at first, I was taught to play guitar from a Christian instructor. So, in my ways of rock and roll, and the way, I didn't listen too much to rock and roll until I think my first album my first cassette tape I ever listened to was Abbey Road, the Beatles, and Come Together was on it, and Day Tripper, and stuff like that, and I just fell in love with the rock and roll, and I got sucked into this whole rock and roll thing, but I was taught to play Christian music, and for the first couple of years of my life, I was playing Christian music, writing my own lyrics, and songs and stuff, and they all sounded the same, but it meant, people respected me for that. But then I got in with the wrong crowd at school, nothing bad. It was just, it was just a worldly crowd, and sometimes I'm still with those people, and honestly, I think the world is so, full of them, you can't get away from them, so, and I'm friends with, people who are not as close with God as they should be, and I'm not as close as God as I should be, I think a lot of people have their flaws, but the music, God gives you talents, and it's like the parable of of God who gives the three brothers talents, and one got 3 talents, came back with I don't know, it was maybe 15. But people know that story, and then there was the one, and there was the one guy who didn't do anything with his talent because he was afraid he was going to lose it, or something, or he's afraid to use it, or something, there's something of that sort. So he buried it under the ground, and so, and then when God came, Jesus asked him what happened with or such and such asked him with what do you do with his talents, he was upset with him, and he took his talents and gave it to the other people who did more with their talents. And I believe God has blessed me with the talent of music, and it's been tugging at my heart because I've been playing rock and roll for almost 9 years now, and trying to make it big. That's all I wanted to do, is make it big, hit a record deal, and market myself, and make a lot of money, But all I've wanted to do, and it seems so innocent. But if you get into the world of rock and roll, and you get into the dark side of the music industry and stuff like that, it's more than just music. It's more than just whatever, it's more than just the music. Everybody's like, it's all about the music, man. It's all about the music. It's because we love the music, and that's a lie. You get into that kind of music, you're expected to look a certain way, do certain things, act a certain way, and that's the norm for a rock star, and that's where drugs and vulgar language and all kinds of things come into play, and it's very sad.